I think.
Thinkly thunk.
I think he thunk.
Thunking, the thinking thunk.
God, why are you guys so quiet all the time?
Is that better?
That is
Blame it
way
on
better.
us.
I'm not doing that the whole thing.
The Villains Talk Show.
No, it's not.
Then what is it?
I don't.
The
we
Heroes
don't know what it is
Podcast,
anymore.
obviously.
We're the people that talk about things and with
The
stuff.
Heroes Podcast, obviously.
There's
But it's
actually a
spelled
podcast.
G-Y.
P-Y? The
No,
Fearos?
G-Y.
The Fearos podcast.
The fire.
No, Gyros.
We will be the Phoebus podcast.
The Phoebus podcast. Hello
Yeah.
and welcome to the Phoebus podcast.
Phoebus experience.
It actually rolls off the tongue quite well. Am I quiet? Oh, that's probably why.
Yeah.
Hello. Is that
You're
better?
pretty quiet. No.
Am I better? Thank you, people watching, for telling me that I'm quiet. Hello,
Ah, yes, people.
and welcome to the Villains Talk Show and Podcast. I am one of your
Thank you.
esteemed hosts, C4, accompanied with a full accoutrement, as opposed to last
Wonderful
week,
people.
which was just me. In this
You
case,
can leave
I have
if you want to do it all by yourself.
I have quadrupled
We're-
myself.
We are the ones.
Do you want us just to
Holy
leave so
mix
you
up.
can continue this theme?
No, that was so bad.
The ranting of C4.
Are you
It
sure?
was so bad.
It was pretty entertaining.
I utterly disagree, to be honest. It was not fun for me.
Great to watch.
We all need a moment to kind of
But
get rant.
I am here with Greasy Boy, Insaniac, and the Elusive Gentleman. Holy shit, there's a name I haven't said in a while.
We are here.
Yeah, and Thaniac's never
we
here.
are the people.
It's true. We are here, and it's hello, hello, Rushala. It's nice to see you. It's nice to see everyone. Just quick shout out to our Patreon and all our followers, for the wheel and everyone who follows us. The podcast. If you're listening at home on the podcast, thank you for listening. And yes. Today,
People's and stuff.
do we just dive right into this, or do we do? I mean, I haven't had people around, so I mean,
We get so crushed by it is what we do. That's the topic of today.
what? Into the mic?
Topic.
That makes sense. I get it.
pressure. With the pressure. The topic's pressure. We get slowly crushed by it every day. My goodness.
You are
My
always.
goodness.
Are
That
you
never
always
happens.
under it, Insaniac?
I like to think I'm over it some days, but that depends.
Overpressured? Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I'm more of. Sorry, I'm a Five Finger Death Punch fan. I was thinking under and over it. Music. That's okay.
So that's fine. I was thinking
I don't
Vanilla
know.
Ice.
I guess we both had different ideas, but geography.
You just have to remember that
uh,
the surface pressure doesn't really matter.
Oh my lord, Rujala, you're getting your first tattoo ever on Friday. What is
cool.
it?
Virgin skin.
Those are always fun. I got my first at 30, and then I got my second at 30.
I think I got my first at like 17.
I got my first at 18.
Nice. Good for you.
Okay. Many plan, but they're so expensive.
But back to pressure. Today's topic is pressure, the mind killer.
the pressure so much that makes you get a tattoo.
Just pressure.
Usually,
man.
yeah.
Usually pressure makes you want to get a tattoo.
I have in the
Yeah.
description, if you're watching on YouTube, pressure, that thing, I believe, I can't even remember what the hell. I went. No.
I can tell you in a second.
Nice.
Pretty addictive for Rushala.
Oh, I got my first tattoo. Oh, you already did. Yay. No, we're talking about pressure, and pressure can be
Pressure cookers. They cook
minute
food.
Today we address
To-
pressure and the collective nature of it.
to. Okay.
There you go.
One of my favorite
That's all you have.
philosophers, who I bring up quite a bit on the show, is Foucault, French philosopher. Highly suggest you go read Foucault. But the reason the reason he's contentious is because he's not technically a philosopher. He doesn't call himself one. But one thing that I've always found, at least when I first learned about him, especially when it comes to pressure, and the reason I'm bringing him up, is something that I have also described on the podcast, is the panopticon. And this is starting from the inward. So this is perceived pressure, is we'll call this. If I had a little like banner, it would go perceived pressure.
Is this a
We
PowerPoint?
need a bunch of
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint.
I
with
wish I had a
C4?
PowerPoint, but
My
I just wanted
goodness.
to talk about this because this is the
This is
one
a
thing
business
that
meeting
most
with
people
pressure.
deal with on. This is the one thing people can relate with right away, is when you walk outside and you're wearing mismatched socks. You either don't give a fuck or it
Shop.
nags on your mind. And I'm not saying that if you have like,
I
'cause
wear mismatched socks every day.
there are people who do have mental illness that does prevent that, but I'm not talking about that. I'm just taking them out of the conversation for now and just saying, for people who just go outside and feel that pressure, or the best is high school students. Everyone was in high school. When you go to high school and you actually spend time to think of what you want to wear, but in the end you just walk out in jeans and a sweater because that's what everyone else fucking does. That's internal pressure. That's not you're being told, or that's not.
I also just didn't care. That's why I wore jeans and a sweater.
But it's the same time. You understand what I'm
It,
getting
it
at.
came
though.
from the same place. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The pressure to do it, so I just didn't care.
But it's
Right.
inner. It's inner, and that's where I guess we'll start, because that's the easiest one for people to understand. And
Read the same pair of jeans.
it's
On the
basically
real shirt.
it's basically an invisible eye that you believe is there watching you, even though in reality, and something that I've told many of my friends is to learn to just say fuck it, because it's one thing I think is lost on people. And I don't mean like it. Okay, I don't mean like, oh, just go do it because whatever. I mean fuck it in the tense that just why care? Why, like, and it's hard. Don't get me wrong. Don't like misunderstand what I'm trying to say, in that you like, it's easy just to just say fuck it and then live by that idea. But when you actually truly learn to just let something go that doesn't matter, or just fucking who cares, and just go out. This is why I've always been, and ever since I was a kid, I've always been in awe of people who wear drag. Because that is the exact fuck it I want you and everyone to ascertain, is the ability to just say, you know what, especially when I grew up in the 90s, to basically go out and just say, this is how I want to dress because this is how I feel comfortable, and be able to say fuck the world. That is what more people need, because I think more of that would.
I think that comes in the same thing from tattoos, and, like, getting piercings and things like that. You know, like
Yes.
I had like for those who, like, I haven't had my face camera in a bit, but I have an eyebrow piercing. I used to have a lot bigger of a stud back in the day, and I used to get all kinds of people giving me looks and things about like my eyebrow piercing, and I it's kind of funny to a certain point, and it makes it seem so silly for one small thing for everyone to be like, oh, like, there's a person looking slightly different. Oh, this is weird, you know. And then so it's odd, and it's strange to feel like that kind of that pressure, that social, like, and you just be like, well, fuck, I don't really care, I'm just gonna kind of do what I want. So, tattoos, piercings, all the way is whatever I want to do.
Dude, I wanted a tattoo since I was 18, and I, because I succumbed
So you were
to my
supposed
family, especially my parents telling me to like sit on it and just think about it, and if I still wanted it, like when I hit maybe 20, then I'd get it. And for some reason, I just kept sitting, and I still wanted the same tattoo. Like it never changed since I was 16. And it took me till I was 30 to finally just get the tattoo I wanted. And on top of that, I didn't even get that first. I got a random tattoo on my body first because I wanted to break that. I just wanted to say screw it. This thing on my body has no meaning. It has only meaning to me, and I want it on my body.
Yeah,
And it's just
What's so great about tattoos?
just for the sheer
It
fact
can be anything.
I wanted to break out of that mental hold that I had on myself. And once it was done, it was so easy to get my second tattoo, and there was the one that I wanted, and it looks great. I love it. And so
Yeah, I never understood like kind of like goofy tattoos, but at the same time, like I kind of get it for that same kind of mindset as like like just being able to get a tattoo because like it's your choice to do whatever you want, right? So it's like why not? Like I've heard of ridiculously strange tattoos, or like you hear of like people get like there's eye tattoos and things like that, or like inside lip tattoos, or like all that weird stuff. I think we covered
Tattoos
that.
are my favorite thing to see people get.
And like it's I love tattoos. I have so many that I had planned. I think I have like 6 I'm working on like a sleeve myself, but they're just so expensive.
Ruchala had been talking about getting her tattoo for over 30 years. I am so glad you got it. Same. It's that mental pressure that it comes from no one else but ourselves. It's so that's why I wanted to lead off with the ability of saying fuck it. It's hard. It really is. As people, as anyone on the podcast listening or anyone watching and reading along in the chat will understand, like I'm not a young Spriggan. Ruchala looks younger than me.
Wait, you're not?
But we've taken a long
made by
time
pure
to get
pressure.
over these
You
humps
love
for
you
no
all.
reason. No reason other than our own our own personal mental tribulations. I'm so glad you got 3. You beat me by 1. Now I need to catch up. But yeah, anyone? Blah. The rest of the group.
Everyone out there is.
I
is
mean,
dying
if
to
it
farm their
helps,
pressure.
I didn't do drag
Because
I didn't do drag because I cared about what people thought. I did it because money was good with it.
Nice.
Like I got $100 per show
Very nice.
for like 5 minutes.
That's
Very
fucking
nice.
dope.
Plus
That's so
tips.
great. That is the greatest answer I've ever fucking heard.
Very nice.
Fuck yeah, right? John's clapping. I
I have
Very nice
always
indeed.
said, and I will never
Right.
disparage any human out there that can sell any part of their body for money. You beat me. I can't. You good for you. I am so impressed. Good for you. I'm. Oh. Yes, you drink that. You drink that out of that coffee cup with pride. Good for you.
It's just tea.
Tea is amazing. I have my tea.
It
So
really
let's-
is.
so
I
let's
got
move
a
on
Druid
to-
magic tea.
So let's move on to what is the easier pressure to ignore, but is the more prevalent pressure, which is outside pressure,
Peer pressure.
Pressure.
I was close.
peer pressure.
100% outside pressure.
That's the same thing, man.
No one listens
gonna
to
say- I was
peers
gonna say-
anymore.
I was
It's the
just
exact same thing.
They're
Gravity,
just there to
gravity
rip
pressure.
boats.
It's technically peer
from
pressure.
my
Gravity.
junk.
Gravity's just weighing us down every day, turning us into diamonds slowly.
Oh yeah, we're talking about PSI. Sorry, I forgot.
I was talking about boat peers. because they put on a lot of pressure as well.
But yeah, outside pressure, peer pressure, any kind of pressuring factors.
Oh,
I
it's
can
so
tell
funny.
you,
I think everyone's
as
that in high
a-
school.
As a God, I'm almost middle aged. Ugh.
As a wee
Tell me
lad.
about it.
As an almost. That tasted good. Oh, nice piece of cake. Thank you for that. As an almost middle-aged man,
I was gonna say, you still got yeah, you guys still got a little bit.
dude,
My
the pressure to like, and like from everyone to either settle down or have a family or buy a motherfucking house or dude, I don't drive. I don't have a license. I don't. And
Yeah,
the
big
amount
difference
of
for you.
people,
I didn't.
the amount of people that just can't believe that. Like it baffles them. And how many people keep telling me, like, oh, it'd be easier if you had a car, and like, it is hard. Like the amount of things that I need to like either get rides from people from or like it, especially if I want to leave the city, it does become a pain in my ass. And it's funny how much the pressure to get a goddamn license has I'm almost there. I'm almost getting my learners. I've been thinking about it, which is bad.
I didn't know you didn't have your learners.
I have an
I got that at 15, I think.
I have an ID card.
Because you could
Same.
get it pretty early in Calgary.
I have an ID card.
Nice.
I got mine at 14.
Yeah, rub it in, guys. I didn't need
Nice.
it.
Without
Screw
studying,
driving.
I just showed up one day. And I was like, I want to take the test, and I passed it without studying.
C4 laughs and gas prices.
First
that you
try.
don't pay. I mean,
But yeah, I mean, the elusive gentleman can speak to this too. Just the amount of pressure from people, just random people you don't even fucking know. Like, you tell them, you're like, oh, so what do you do? Oh, I have a roommate and I live in an apartment. And they're like, oh, well, what do you do for a living? I'm a cook. And they just look at you and they're like, oh, do you have any? Nope, single, no kids. And that's where they,
See,
and that's when their eyes always go up when you say no kids. They're like, oh, and you're like, not married.
see, that's where I'm lucky because I can say I'm a chef. It suddenly changes the tone of that by just a little bit.
It's so true.
Slightly, like, it's not as bad.
It's so true. Because you're a chef, you sound so much better. But
But it's like it's no difference. It's so funny. It's just, honestly like the little bit of difference I would say in a personal thing. I don't know how people in the way of like cooks is like how much you like drive into your food. I guess as a cook and a chef, but I don't know. I understand that kind of like vibe for like trying to like have a family and do all that stuff, buy a house and like be part of the society in a sense.
do you though?
I didn't.
I mean, I don't remember the pressure. Like, I remember being in my mid 20s, and like there was no pressure.
Honestly, if anything, I'm
Like,
feeling financial pressure. at most
yeah,
right
that's
now.
it. Like that was the same.
Yeah.
Like yeah, sure. Like you're maybe a bit of a financial squeeze, but like no pressure. There's no pressure to being told to like do this or maybe you should settle down or you should think about kids.
I definitely have people who tell me kind of some
Yeah,
of
it
these
gets
things,
worse.
but I genuinely just don't listen to most of it anyways because I never have to begin with. This white noise. I find you have to study for tests. I pass schools.
I
No
mean,
problem. There's a lot of things that you should do that now you don't have to do. That people tell you should do.
my
I'm
poor
saying don't study. You should study.
my
But
poor sisters, like they're very successful and they are in the same boat as me, and my God, like I feel bad for them. Like how bad it gets. People say, "Oh, you're single," or there. It's judgment, and it's bad.
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
really bad for.
Being single gets more of a judgment as you get older.
It's
and
not
as you,
even like
especially
it's
for
just.
women.
I
As
think
well.
just
Like,
women in general. I mean, Rujala, you can
yeah.
help us out with this. But I think women in general just get like really harped on really hard about this.
Yeah, there's the expectation to be a parent. To be with somebody. Maybe a partner.
Yeah. See, like, yeah, there you go. You've been to like you, and you guys have like you've no reason to. Um, really? That's I don't know how to feel about that. That's well, you're still gorgeous.
I mean, there's nothing wrong.
Rujala just said that
All
her
that out of
her and Bear have been together for over 12 years and don't have kids, and it confuses a lot of people. And I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised by that at all. And I bet you there's. Yeah. See? And that's. It's so. Like, I can imagine that in that instance, in that, like, just being in that position, it must be so hard because you know that they're not doing it out of malice. Unless they are, then fuck them. Then I hope you kick them in the fucking balls. But if they're just like, they're not doing that out of malice, but at the same time, like, oh.
I think I would probably smack anybody that got like that close to me to touch me in any kind of sense, or like any like. That's a little personal spaces. Like
I mean,
should
it's
be
one thing to
respected,
do that to
like,
him.
smack somebody in the face.
Yeah. I don't know. That's. Oh.
Enhance to yourself.
But this is exactly it though. Like the people don't like that's what I'm getting at is people don't understand the amount of pressure they put on others with just asking questions. Yeah. My mother is the fucking worst. I love her to death, but I can say this because I know for God sure she'll never fucking listen to this podcast. Because she will never ever have access to any of my social media. I don't ever on Facebook. I don't ever on Twitter. I don't ever on any of that crap. Because I love her to death, but goddamn, she is that kind of person who will she will say the wrong thing at the wrong time. Every time. Every time. And she means well. That's the worst part. Because she it's how she was raised. And so when she brings up the fact, I don't know, when she brings up the fact that someone's not pregnant to their face, she doesn't mean it bad. It's the same idea. It's
older generational thinking.
Like in that example, Rujala, I could see my mom not touch you, but maybe ask, like, if you thought about children in the future, and be just blunt about it. And it's not that she means bad; it's what she does. But what she doesn't understand, and what I'm trying to get at, is the pressure it puts on the person she asks, or which would be in this example be you. But I think I'm just trying to get at it so I could reflect it to everyone else, because like I'm not, and I guess I'm trying to bring it up because it's a two-way thing. Like, I'm keenly aware of it, but that doesn't mean I don't do it, and I don't mean to, trust me. But like I have to catch myself sometimes, but I do it a lot and I hate it. But it's one of those things that it's a societal thing almost. Because I see it, and just it's become it's become normal for people to ask certain questions that just, and then the worst part is I then watch commercials on YouTube about mental health and about how mental health is so bad, but people don't realize that like they're monumentally mounting more and more pressure onto each other. It's like we're forcing each other to need therapists more. I missed a lot of what she said. Someone else talk. I'm gonna read the chat.
Self-feeding system.
Meow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like the.
Why?
the
Thank you.
gentleman is being
Do
volunteered.
you, elusive gentleman? Do you want to introduce who's speaking for you?
Tell us more about this elusive meow cry in the darkness
Yes.
from a shadowy beast.
At first, I didn't know what the hell you guys were talking about.
Shadow.
In my lap, yeah.
She's talking more than you, man.
Yeah, she's just getting
she's
inside.
she's volunteered you to speak.
She's an outdoor cat now, so she's much happier.
When did it
I
become
can imagine.
okay?
Hey, that brings pressure, right? Having outdoor pets. I remember one time you had like a rough moment with one of your neighbors.
My fucking neighbor with the cat trap, that shit was bullshit.
Yeah, I remember that day. That was really.
Rujala said
Really
people
should
touch
I
pagan
was
whipping like they're
pissed.
Buddha statues. My answer to that is when I had a shaved head when I was a kid, everyone rubbed my head and said it was like a lucky rabbit's foot. Even strangers I did not know. So
I've
yeah.
never had that one.
It's just
I've
random
had a
people.
bald head.
Random people like to
I
touch
used to
people.
shave
It's
my head all
weird.
the time.
Super weird.
For
And
the longest time, I had a shaved head, and someone licked my head once.
What?
Rujala, next time someone asks Bear how many kids they have and not if he has any, his answer should be, "Oh, I ate 2 this morning and I got 1 in the freezer."
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta aim to confuse them.
Exactly.
No children, just cubs.
I've heard that before.
Or you
Actually,
telling me you left them at the supermarket.
I've heard women wear
Hasn't-
wedding rings even though they're not married just to keep creeps away from them at bars.
that's
Yeah,
funny.
that's
Yeah.
right.
But then you get the real creeps who see the wedding band
Just don't care.
And then they
just don't
come
care,
anyway.
yeah.
Yeah.
That fucking guy.
Ugh.
Not like the dating scene's greasy at all.
No, not at all.
We have a whole episode about that. Isn't that right, Gracie Boy?
Mm,
Check out a previous episode
Since when?
about dating.
So good.
Which one?
Shameless plug is shameless.
Hashtag previous episodes.
But yeah,
Dylan,
I think if we were to tier kinds of outside pressure, I'd say, I mean, that's really hard because it depends on the person. But I'd say in the top tier you have family and friends.
I mean, tradition.
Depending
is just,
which one you value
peer
more.
pressure from dead people.
yeah, and then I'd say maybe society.
Yeah, it depends what. Yeah, exactly.
And laws are peer pressure from the government.
That's society.
Oh,
yeah.
do you want? Is that what you feel about laws?
Mm-hmm.
Most of them tend to be that way.
I would say above society would be religion and faith,
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
that kind of pressure can be bad.
Finances.
Can be
Yeah.
disgustingly bad.
would you say that'd be like cultural, in a sense?
Yeah, actually, that would be. And then finances would be somewhere in there too. Like we'll say tier 1 would be family and or friends, depending which one you do more. We'll say tier 2 would be like money and or culture. So like religion, or like we could even throw in your community if you're a small town. And then tier 3, we'll say like laws, I guess.
Society.
I'm only throwing that in there because that's what the gentleman said, but okay. It's pretty. I mean, I am as much of an anti-disestablishmentarianist as you are, but I need a bit more to grab on.
Cat pressure. Pressures of being a cat owner.
What?
Just think
Pressure
about
to being a
tradition.
cat owner.
Tradition's good peer pressure.
Pardon me?
Tradition
Yeah,
is a good
tradition.
example of pressure.
That's
That kind of
cultural.
fits under
Just-
cultural.
that fits under
Yeah, that
cultural.
fits under
Yeah, but
culture.
I
But
mean,
it's
like,
also just peer pressure from dead people.
I can
that's
speak
cultural.
on like Judaism.
Like, if
If you want to talk about cultural pressure, Judaism, it's like the entire religion is based on cultural pressure. And as a grown up devout Jew, I can tell you, there's a lot of pressure in that culture, and like pressure to go to shul. But if you don't go to shul, then you got to go to the high holidays, and like, or you have to sell like, and the pressure to do like even in your family to do the Seder right, or
Isn't
like
there a way
to
like fail your bar mitzvah or something like that? Don't you have to recite like?
Yeah, bar
if you
mitzvah.
recite it wrong.
I mean, those are just those.
Like,
that's
doesn't
just a
Wouldn't
traditional.
that be like a little bit? Wouldn't that be a little pressure as a kid? I don't know, but like,
Well, that's more. But you get to choose if you want to have a bar mitzvah.
oh, do you? Okay,
Yeah,
I didn't know
at
that.
13 you can have it, but you can have it later.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not so bad.
Like, yeah, that's
I-
not. They don't just throw you in the deep end and say, "All right, you're 13.
I was
Time
just-
to
I
read
was just
Hebrew and the Torah."
my thought was like I was thinking like Stephen King in the awful new It movie where like he's like all worried and runs away and shit because he's a teen and he's like, oh, teen problems in Judaism. I don't know, but
No, that was just weird. He's already like at his bar mitzvah. And, like, okay, just to sidestep that, just to talk about that scene, having done my bar mitzvah. Dude, if you're already at the fucking podium with the talit and the fucking kippah, and you're about to lead the congregation, which is what you're supposed to do during a bar mitzvah, you're basically like a rabbi like substitute as a kid.
yeah, it's like
And like
your first time.
you
as a kid,
spent
sort of thing.
months at a time learning the aliyah, and the aliyah are sung. So it's like, dude, it's fucking 5 minutes of work. Like, Jesus motherfucking Christ, man. Like, it's not like it's
Guess in a sense
hard.
they're done everything,
And then the
or
rest of the time,
everything
like,
else
that's
already.
really, you sing for 5 minutes, you do your aliyah, and then the rest of the time you just kind of mirror the rabbi and do nothing else. Sing a bunch of songs to the congregation. Like, like,
He got social pressure. He was too scared to like stand before on stage or whatever. I
I
don't
say
know.
my mom learned that whole fucking thing. I remember her doing that shit.
That's-
not surprised. me and your mum are not on
Well, I
good
mean,
terms right now. I don't know if she told
yeah,
you.
activity, right.
No?
Oh, good. Then that's all we're gonna leave it. Me and your mum got into a bit of a fight online.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. It ended with me kind of
Social media warriors.
proving to her that she was living in an echo chamber, and that if she was
Social media warriors.
actually wanted
goodness.
to engage a difference and understand what she was talking about, she would ask me questions and not just assume what I know, because that's what an echo chamber does. And I even put the definition, and yeah, that's all we're talking about that.
Social warrior C4.
Ooh, I'm suddenly more interested.
No, you're not. We're not gonna.
Keyboard warrior.
Let's just say
So that's just a terrifier.
This is what I do
That's
with
the
my
context.
friends, man. I find their parents, and I ask them about their political leanings, and they
No, but
slowly
we
start
had
to
a big
destroy
mom with my
them.
mom, and that was hilarious.
Oh my goodness.
This is what my parents have done to me. Why do you think I'm a talk show called The Villains Talk Show? I'm slowly gonna weed my way.
No. It's the Jiro's podcast.
Yeah.
Been the Jiro's podcast.
The
this
Phoenix
whole time.
experience.
I like that. Rujala says one of my favorite activities to take myself to a nice dinner, and by herself, I'm assuming. And it's my don't care what everyone thinks. This makes me happy. You know what? The likeness fucking does that. he will fucking just out of nowhere go to a super fancy steak and just have a fancy steak dinner with scotch by himself and just does not give a fuck.
That's the
Full
shit.
suit, like
You know,
just
that sounds
by
like a
himself,
great idea.
Really?
and just treats himself. And he says the exact same, honestly, the exact same thing. It makes him happy.
I do that with
I've,
sushi.
I've
here.
definitely had
I
a day
go
or
for
two like
all I
that.
can
It's
eat
not it's
sushi.
not bad. It's pretty nice when you get a day like that.
But yeah, so Rujala, no, fuck it. It's not sad
It
at
was
all.
chill,
That's
yeah,
treating
it's-
yourself
it's-
to prime.
Yeah.
That is
No,
the
if
prime
anything,
treating,
yeah,
especially because you're
actually
married.
going to a
That's
restaurant for
saying
yourself,
to your
you know?
husband, just like, no, you can have the
I'm
house to
getting what I
yourself.
want.
I'm gonna go treat myself to a nice dinner, and then you just sit
Yeah,
there in a
I'm-
fancy dress, drinking champagne and eating some wonderful rigatoni, and just loving life. Ah, that is
I need to buy a dinner jacket for that, but that sounds like a great idea.
yeah.
We should all do that. We'll all sit at our own tables.
The likeness took me for one before COVID. Actually, when COVID started, before all the restaurants shut down, or when they reopened for a little bit, he booked us both a really nice dinner at this steak restaurant. And
Shit, eh?
I went full suit and tie, everything, same as him, and we just had this wonderful steak dinner. Just us two. It was great. Dinner conversation. We laughed, we joked, we quoted Monty Python. It was great.
We quoted Monty Python.
This I'm like yeah, because every
Is
time
there
the
anything better
waiter
than
came
that?
back, and asked us for more water, we'd be like, actually, we'd like a new conversation. This one was dull, and if like he caught on real quick too. The waiter, he started coming back with like, well, there was this happening, and we're like, oh yes, and we'd start talking about it. It was great, actually. It was a fantastic evening.
Nice.
But yeah, I exactly, Ruchal. That's why we get along. That's why I want to convey this to people: the ability to say "fuck it," because then you have the most wild times. One of the most wild times. Like another good example is, I think I might have said this before on the podcast a long time ago, but I did this thing called LARP for a long time, and there was this instance where
What? You doing LARP? Never.
I was
I haven't heard of that.
there's all these new characters, all these new players, in the middle of this basically competition we have, and they made a group of just all the new players, which means they were going to lose every competition because all of the seasoned players had actual teams that were divvied up to their skills so that they could actually compete and win, and then it's just a group of just new players who had no idea what the fuck they were doing. And I just wanted to get drunk. I had a bunch of drugs with me, and I just snuck them in, and I was just going to get drunk and high and just watch the competitions. Because my character was a bard. I was like, fuck competitions. I'm here to watch. And they roped me into being their leader because they needed one more. And so I honestly told them out of game, this was my plan. If you guys want me to do this, I will. But I am not changing what my goal was. And they said sure, and I just said fuck it, and me and these new players of all different ages just had the greatest motherfucking time. Cause I was straight up with them. I was like, guys, don't expect to win anything. If we get third, that is a victory, and we did. There was one competition we actually got third. And I remember I was just out of my mind when I heard it. I just kept, and our team name was stupid. It was Sleeping Bunnies. And so I just broke my voice screaming Sleeping Bunnies. And we celebrated harder than the team that got first. That, have you ever seen that meme of the guy splishing the champagne after he gets the medal? And then it zooms out and there's all the people on the ladder above them? That was us before that meme.
Yeah, man. It's about the celebration.
That is the power of fuck it. Fuck it, you're on the podium. Who cares if you're near the bottom?
Because at least, even if you're the last on the podium, you're like, fuck yeah, I still got here.
Fuck yeah,
And
right?
at that point, you should be staring at the guys above you like, what the fuck's wrong with you guys?
Why am I partying this hard? Yeah, exactly.
Why am I the only one? Yeah.
Live it up.
Oh. But the problem is you have, and then you have, I think the best thing is just going back to just to end on that, like you had all these teams, especially in LARP, because it's live action roleplay, it's D&D in real life, and some people don't take it seriously, but there are a few people who take it very seriously. And so it was just a lot of fun to basically have a group of players that basically had no idea to the I guess the nuance or any of the drama that had happened beforehand or anything. They had no connection. And so I ran with it, and it was so much fun. I think a few of them still play today. Like I just it was one of my best memories. And I got I got voted by the LARPers like player of the weekend. And I remember, and I'm sitting I remember that. I'm sitting in this huge meet because we have it at the end of LARP where we all meet and sit and talk about the weekend. And I won like player of the weekend. And I remember sitting there and just honestly like thinking to myself, just like, really guys? Like, dude, I was fucked up this whole weekend. Sure, yeah. Fuck yeah, man.
That's the best part when you win something and you didn't try at all. It's the greatest. You're like, holy shit.
Rujala's right. It's supposed to be fun, not serious work, but some people take it as work and like take it seriously. So it was really fun to have a whole bunch of people just collectively say fuck it. And it's because I think it was because I was completely honest with them and just said, "Guy, yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun."
RPG stuff helps relieve the pressure.
And I think that more people, like as I said at the beginning, more people need to learn to do that. More people need to learn to just say, screw it. This is how I'm going to have fun.
Just remember, there's a hidden power to fucking up.
I want to have fun.
What?
There's a hidden power to fucking up.
There's a hidden...
You gotta become like the...
What's that?
The awkward man.
You learn from your mistakes and you make yourself better, and who cares?
Yeah, that's fair. Awkward man.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
The awkward mancer that you guys are talking about actually came from LARP. That's an idea I stole from LARP.
Yeah, I have no doubt. I was thinking more drunken monk like Jackie Chan, to be honest. My first idea. I'm like, that's the power of fucking up. You just fall on your face and still punch somebody in the face, too.
I believe the awkward mancer started from just a guy who wanted to be, he was trying to be a sorcerer or something in LARP. And his little pants fell down in the middle of battle, and the monsters he were fighting, like the two people playing them, just started like laughing and ran away, and so the legend of the awkward mancer started. So powerful is the awkwardness of his magic.
This is why RPGs is so great. So you can be anything and make a lot of random bullshit just come out of nowhere, and it's amazing. Legends are foretold. The awkward mancer. His myth be foresaw.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, we're at 15 minutes left, so let's focus in on let's roll the board.
I got this. I'll roll the dice.
No, you won't. I'm not trusting you.
Want to bet?
Let's focus in on the worst kind of pressure. Family pressure.
Under pressure.
Because it's one thing to like not talk to friends anymore. It's one thing to just not give a shit what people say anymore. But it's really hard to. I mean, that's not true. There are some people who, God bless them, it's a lot easier for them. But family, man.
Toughest fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, yeah.
Like I said it earlier in the show, like I love my sisters to death, but they're both extremely successful. and so is like most of my family. So like it's really hard to not have that pressure when they tell me about like, oh, you should do this. You went to school for this. Oh, you're so knowledgeable in this. You should pursue this. And in my mind, I'm like, no, I have no interest. I have interest in learning about politics. I have no interest in being in politics. Why? I am not a shitty person. Sorry. I can't do it.
I can see you
Politics
being
are
a
not
good
fun,
politician.
especially right now. Doesn't look like politics are fun. They're really watching some of the latest debates, the dumbest shit that some people will say on there, or like just outright not even like talking about certain things or avoiding questions altogether. Or like it's like I honestly feel when you listen to some of the debates that these people have like hearing problems. I like legitimately.
I am really glad you said that. I'm also really glad Rushala said that in the chat. I think we all can admit that some of us are guilty of putting pressure on close friends and family to get vaccinated in some way. Or, yeah. Maybe not Jeremy's family. Sorry or not sorry?
Not really. Yeah, no, my family. Well, my direct family is pretty chill.
Yeah,
I can't chill for the most
but
part. Too.
I can tell you, like,
I had it more at work. So I'm working in old folks' home for a bit.
but yeah,
Lots of
even outside of us, like I've seen it online, like the gang pressuring from family and friends to get people vaccinated. Like
dope.
I saw on Facebook, I gotta say this carefully because I don't want to mention any names or oust anyone, but there was someone on Facebook and like they like I should broaden this out because there was more people. I saw people on Facebook that would just like start blocking family members or close friends because they decided they didn't want to get a certain vaccine or were waiting for a different vaccine or just didn't want to get vaccinated and they weren't vocal about it. Like I'm not talking about the people who are vocal and who go down and protest like against the vaccine mandates. I'm talking about the people who just decided that they just didn't want to as a personal decision. And they get all of a sudden ousted, and it was like, I mean, the best way to put it is this as basically like an old witch hunt, man. Like, who can we drag out onto the streets and lay it on the pyre and point to as like the reason this thing's still going on? And I think like there's a lot to be said with people's frustration. A lot of people don't like to admit when they're frustrated or when they're lacking patience. You know what I mean? And so they put it on other people.
That added pressure. That
Yeah,
pressure
and they put it on other people because they need an outlet. And no one wants to ever admit they have a problem, and no one wants to be told they have a problem. So they just want to find an outlet for pressure that just ends up being toxic vitriol that comes out of people's mouths and forces people to basically like dichotomize, which is what's happened. You like name me a place in the world where there isn't a dichotomy in either beliefs or personal values.
North Korea.
Yeah, okay. Sure. Yes. You know what? Yeah, you win. You win the special prize. You named a country.
Anyone who thinks otherwise is gone.
But then exactly. No, but in reality, man, like the amount of pressure, not even from COVID, just from people being so interconnected now through Facebook, Twitter, just through social media. It goes back to the reason, I guess, why my mom and my basically my family, except my sisters, and my cousins, are not on my Facebook or on my social media because I don't care. Yeah, it's not for them. You know what I mean? My social media is not for them. It's for my friends. It's for people that, and if they want to see it, I'll make it public, and then they can see what I posted. Otherwise, it's like, man, I'm a private person, and I think a lot of people lose that level of privacy, especially nowadays. The idea everyone keeps talking about, the idea of the private life is gone, but that's bullshit, man. That's absolute bullshit. The idea of the private life is not gone. You just have to learn to stand up to people who are in your private life and say, go fuck yourself. You want to you want to weave your way into my life even though you have nothing to do with it? Go fuck yourself. For example, let's say Rujala and her husband. Let's say fucking family or anyone married couple. And your dad decides to come in and start telling you how to run your marriage. Tell him to go fuck himself. It's not his marriage. Same with your brothers, your sisters, family members. Seriously. Now, you don't have to be mad about it, but it's not their lives.
Stand up for yourself a little bit. Choose your own destiny.
Yeah. Seriously. And set the boundaries for yourself. Not for them, for yourself. This is what you will tolerate. This is what you will live with. Anything beyond that, go fuck you. You don't get to cross that line because you have no right. I don't care if you're my dad. I don't care if you're my family member. I don't care if you're my best fucking friend. You don't get to cross that fucking line. You don't. Because it's not your fucking life. And if you're so worried about my fucking life, then there's a problem. There's a problem. Because you should be worried about your own. And I deal with that kind of pressure, but I think it's something that a lot of people I've heard, especially with the way that the world is working today, that people say they can't do that, but it's not true. And I think we could all be a lot better. All of us could be a lot better, and we could all learn that we set the boundaries. Your family, whoever you are, should be lucky to have you part of their lives. So you set the boundaries. But don't be stupid about it. They're people too. They have their own lives too. You have to what you get back, you have to expect to give. You know what I mean? It does. It really does. Rouge Hollis says keeping your life private takes more work. It does. But sometimes, even keeping your life private, even if you can't, because like I said, this is public. My family can at any moment turn this on and listen to this podcast, and I know for a fact my sisters listen. So but they know because they expect the same from me. They expect the same from me. That even if something goes public, I will respect them. And just as I expect they'd respect me. And I feel if you show that respect, I feel like it takes a lot of pressure off, even if it is in the public. You know what I mean? And I'm talking from a guy whose family has been in the public a lot in my life since I was a kid, whether I liked it or not. And so I can tell you, the friends that I made growing up. Exactly. What's acceptable and where the boundaries are. It's exactly it. It's exactly the root of what I'm trying to say. Rujala said you have to teach people how to treat you, what's acceptable and where the boundaries are. And that's exactly it. If you make something, and like I was trying to say, I make this public, but I don't go on tirades about my family. I just mention stuff that, is public knowledge that we can discuss in a private setting at any point because I have that respect. You know what I mean? and it takes that pressure off my mind. It allows me to speak and know that I can understand people I know because I have set those boundaries, and it's hard. It started with like me honestly not talking to my family for almost 2 years, and that's not a lie. I just did not. And then I came back under my own terms, and it's been the best ever since. But I'm not saying everyone does that. That's a personal thing. I think everyone needs to learn that as an adult, you control the pressure.
But yeah, you gotta stand up and set that tone of where my respect needs to be respected, but I'm equally respectful. You know, that's the
Yes.
same measure.
Exactly. And Rujhala also adds, because everyone has a different line they don't want to cross, and you can't expect everyone to read your mind. And that's exactly it. That's exactly it, actually. And that's what I wanted to get at. And that's the heart of what I wanted to get at with pressure. Is a lot of people don't...
Your pressure. Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun,
a lot of people don't know how to deal with it. And my first two pieces of advice to anyone who tells me that is learn to say fuck it, and learn and take a step away from everything, and then come back on your own
3
terms.
months company, avoid it.
Yeah. Taking a step back
And it
is
can't
one of the
work.
hardest things you can do, and coming back on your own terms. But if you can do it, if you can truly set your own terms, then pressure is no longer a problem because you take on the pressure. Yeah.
Never be afraid to take a step back if you're gonna take if you know it helps you take 2 steps forward.
It's true. And learn to say fuck it. And if you're listening, and if you're out there listening, and you're thinking to yourself like, "Hey, maybe I do that," then like don't be down on yourself. Just be mindful. I've said it myself. Like I do it to people, and I do it all the time, and I hate it. But you have to be mindful of it, right? There's a thing about it is if you don't actively try to change yourself, nothing will change. And then you'll end up all of a sudden you'll be down a friend, a family member who never talks to you, a friend who never talks to you. You might find yourself alienating yourself and you didn't even realize it.
Stained waters as it was.
Yeah.
Life
So,
can't live without it.
That being said, we are at time. We do have one more sad piece of news to announce.
Those who've been watching this wonderful time, you get to hear this wonderful updates and stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't call this too wonderful. Due to things that we will not talk about and we will not bring up. But unfortunately, Sarah Vike will not be joining us on the podcast anymore. It's nothing to do with us. We're still all great friends, just best friends with her. We still play D&D with her.
Personal life choices, things
It's
going
just,
on,
yeah.
and
It's
updates.
there's a lot going on, so she will not be joining us for the foreseeable future.
No.
But hopefully, we hope maybe one day she'll come back.
We may still have the Beyond Men Viking on the occasional one shot.
Who knows? Maybe. She did tell us maybe she'll jump into the chat once in a while, and so watch from a distance.
Fellow viewers and stuff, you might see her.
That being said,
chat.
we're really sad, but you have to do what you do best for your mental health.
She's always still here
Yeah.
in our hearts, in a sense.
There's the pressure of wanting those you care about to be better people. Yeah, ain't that the truth? Anyway, on that sad note, I would like to thank you all for spending your time with us. I'm sorry you had nothing better to do, but I'm really glad you spent it with us here. I'm really glad. All the hugs out to Sarah.
Thank you,
Sarah the Viking. I am C4, here with the Elusive Gentleman, Insaniac, and the Greasy Boy. We are the Villains of the Villains Talk Show. A little lesser, but still strong. And we'd like to thank you all again for joining us. Catch us next week for the same time. 9:30 Pacific Standard Time, 10:30 Mountain for the hour-long live shows. Catch us on podcasts every Tuesday or Thursday.
Same pretty faces.
Or catch us on Fridays for the Two Shot Fridays.
Check out our wonderful
Three
podcast
shots.
stuff on Buzz
3 shot, 4 shot, 5
and
shots,
you know,
No, this is
set up
3
your
shots.
your podcast stuff. and
the
things.
20 shots.
Who's doing the next shots? I don't know.
Please
Should
post
be-
the
the
link
shots
to
are nice to get
Patreon.
started.
That's right, the link tree. Quickly,
The link tree.
quickly. It's right
I
there.
posted at the beginning, and it's right there again.
Right
Patreon.
here. The
Phenomenal
link
one.
tree is
If you want to
here.
be the become a minion today,